Round one between Wake and State saw the Pack hit their first 10 shots from the field, build a 28-point lead, and cruise to a 79-65 victory. But that was then. Wake Forest has rebounded to have one of their best seasons in school history. They took Louisville to the wire and have won 3 straight, find themselves on the cusp of their first NCAA tournament appearance in 33 years. Tonight, with some history hanging in the balance, it's the second meeting of the season between the Big Four rivals. The Deacons and the Wolfpack start right now. This is ACC College Hoops, and our matchup tonight, it's the number 4 team in the nation, the NC State Wolfpack, against the Wake Forest Demon Deacons, trying to return to the NCAA tournament for the first time since 1988. And this game tonight would go a long way for the Deacs. Let's check out the standings in the ACC. The Wolfpack in that second position behind the Cardinals of Louisville. If they win tonight at Pitt, Louisville will clinch with a loss by NC State as they take on Wake tonight here in Winston-Salem. All right, what's at stake for Wake Forest? It's part of our Honda Dealers of the Carolinas startup. And imagine this, Kelly Deo. This team was 1-15 2 years ago in ACC play under Jen Hoover. Well, it's one of the great stories in women's basketball this season. Jen Hoover trying to take her team back to the NCAA tournament since the first time that they've been since 1988 when she was a star on that team. A win tonight would make her the winningest coach at Wake Forest. They've also never beaten a top 5 ranked team in program history ever. But more importantly, Tom, this would be a huge resume builder as you look toward March. She was known as Jenny Mitchell back in her playing days in '88. Here's the Toyota starting lineups for Wake Forest, and the veteran leader, Gina Conti, number 5 in white and pink tonight. Yeah, she will dictate the tempo from the point guard position, and she's also the reigning ACC player of the week. Across the way, the Toyota starting lineups for the number 4 NC State Wolfpack, and Elisa Canane, the leader in scoring for the Pack this season. She's on the Naismith Player of the Year watch list, which is a huge honor for the junior. But in her last 2 games, she's only taken 15 field goal attempts. They will need to get her the ball early and often in this game tonight. Canane in the Pack, 13-2 on the season. Ivana Ratza and the Wake Forest Demon Deacs, 11-8 and 8-7 in ACC play. They are 5-3 on their home court in all of those games against ACC opponents. The Wolfpack in the pink and the Deacs in the white. The Pack has the ball to start our game. We are playing for Kay as we remember the legendary NC State coach, Kay Yao, with those pink uniforms tonight here in the month of February in the ACC. Canane got cut off, turn around, hit the front of the rim. The possession is preserved. Second effort, up and good, and NC State is on the board thanks to Kayla Jones on the offensive glass. Well, and right off the start there, you see what a big deal rebounding is going to be in this game. NC State all over the offensive glass, and Kayla Jones ends up with the putback. Yeah, 3rd in the conference in total rebounds per game, NC State. First possession for Wake Forest. Coming off a win Sunday on the road at Clemson, and now the shot clock is down to 7. Driving in traffic, and the miss on the shot in tight by Spear. It's kicked out of bounds off of Conti, and it will stay at this end of the floor with NC State. You mentioned the win against Clemson for Wake Forest. They are on a 3-game win streak right now, but in that game, they shot the ball. They shot 60% from the field in that game. The best scoring that they've been able to have really in many years for the Demon Deacons. Couple of decades as far as that percentage is concerned. Can they continue it tonight? That's Canane with position. Nice gather and 2 for Canane. Yeah, so 2 straight possessions for NC State, and Lisa Canane has the ball in her hands with 2 attempts. I love it. Conti with the ball now for Wake Forest. Averages almost 15.5 points per game. Ratza the baseline drive. She's the leading scorer for this team. Over 16 points per game for Ratza. And you got to remember, she's a senior. She, along with Conti, these are 2 that want to win this game for this program. It's what they were recruited here to do, and they have had an incredible senior season thus far. An 11-8 record, 8-7 in conference play. Coach Hoover trying to become the all-time wins leader at Wake Forest, working on that winning streak. Wins against Pitt, and that was in OT, and Georgia Tech, along with the win at Clemson. Jones picked up the foul for NC State.
And you've got to remember, too, Tom, that Wake Forest took Louisville to the wire. It was a game that they had at home. Looked like they were going to win it. And then Dana Evans and her heroics changed that game. But still, that was a game where they gained confidence, even with the loss.
Just a 2-point loss in that game. Three-pointer is all net. Jakia Brown-Turner.
That's what makes NC State so deadly, is they'll hit you from inside, but they can also knock down threes.
37% as a team from beyond the arc for NC State. They make about 7.5 threes per game. That's 4th best in the ACC. Conti. They get it back to Mora. Kanane slaps it away. And right to Perez. Little mid-range pull-up. Missed shot by Crutchfield.
I think that's going to be the mismatch that we're going to see is Elisa Kanane and Mora. Mora does not have the height advantage, and there is Conti going from outside. That's exactly what she's expected to do. She will distribute when she needs to, but she is also a scorer.
36% from beyond the arc of the season for Conti, who knocks down the 3. 2-point NC State lead. Opening minutes of our first quarter. Good ball movement inside, and they got it in there to Jones, who got fouled on the play. So Kayla Jones will go to the line as a 69% free throw shooter. They gave Scruggs the personal foul for Wake Forest. Jones, the senior from Jamesville, North Carolina, and Riverside High School. Another tremendous season for Wes Moore. Prior to last year, 2 straight years, Sweet 16, and that 13-2 record. I think perhaps one of the most impressive things this season were the wins against #1 teams, early on against South Carolina and then Louisville, and both of those wins were on the road for Wes Moore's team.
It's remarkable. You don't see that in the women's basketball game very often, to get wins like that on the road. And then, you know, unfortunately for them, they lost to 2 unranked teams in the ACC. One, though, without the help of Elisa Kanane, and that was definitely a game changer with her out of the lineup.
Losses against Virginia Tech and North Carolina this season. North Carolina has really been a thorn in the side of NC State the last 3 years. They've been able to interrupt those winning streaks to start the season for NC State.
And you love that about the ACC. So many great rivalries and teams that just seem to have the other's number.
Ratza gave it to Mora. Kind of a flat shot. It's off the side of the rim and out of bounds. And that'll be to NC State. Now, when the teams played in mid-December, it was a win for NC State. But remember, Conti and Ratza combined for just 12 points in that game, and a loss on the road in Raleigh against the Wolfpack.
Yeah, you're not going to win games when 2 of your best scorers are limited offensively, and that's what we've seen already is Ratza taking some shots, Conti, and NC State, another offensive rebound, doesn't get that one to go.
Mora was able to grab it. Here comes Conti. Trying to work around a screen and against Crutchfield defensively, and the twisting shot is off the mark and out of bounds. And back to NC State in the pink tonight.
And that's what I mean by dictating tempo. Gina Conti gets the ball, dribbles down. It's not a transition look, but she will take it all the way and make NC State guard her.
Perez with some crazy dribbling, but it was deflected away. Then she goes for the steal and commits the foul. So Reina Perez, the graduate student from Goodyear, Arizona, picks up her first personal.
And I'm not sure that's the look that Wes Moore wanted from Reina Perez. She is the most unselfish player in this league, leads the league in assists, just takes such control of the basketball, such limited turnovers. But you don't often see her taking the ball on her own, looking for a layup against many defenders.
Only has 27 turnovers all season when NC State has the ball. This time it's a drive and bucket for the Deeks.
You love to see that more from Scruggs. She can hit from outside, but she's a tough matchup with her size inside.
Kanane attempting the three-pointer. Does have 8 made threes on the season, 53% from beyond the arc, but just 16 attempts. Mora trying to go around Canane.
I think Christina Mora is one of the most improved players in the ACC this season. She worked on her fitness over the summer, and she has been just a really great inside player.
Speaking of inside, that's an easy 2, Kayla Jones.
Well, I said it last time I had a NC State game, but she is my favorite 4 in the ACC. She can hit from deep. She can get offensive rebounds and putbacks. She is a solid basketball player, both ends of the floor.
Her basket ended an 0 for 5 streak from the floor for NC State over the last 3.5 minutes. It's a 1-point lead for the Pack. Stop and start for Scruggs. Got caught under the basket, and that will be NC State basketball. When we come back, Ratza and Conti, the mainstays for this Demon Deacon program. We'll talk about their contributions over the years when we come back to Winston-Salem, ACC Women's Hoop. And a week ago on this court, the seniors for Wake Forest honored, and that includes Conti and Ratza. And that was a game against Pittsburgh, a 3-point overtime victory, as Gina Conti and Ivana Ratza were honored prior to that game, and the staggering numbers they put up, Kelly Dale.
When you think about the 4 years that they have had in a Wake Forest jersey, as you mentioned early, only 1 ACC win just 2 seasons ago. And they have been committed to this process and developing. And this is what Coach Hoover said. She recruits players with the tagline, I want you to be a part of what is happening at Wake Forest and to be the first, the first to go back to the NCAA tournament. And you look at what Ratza and Conti have done, and their commitment has to be commended.
Here is the resume: that Missouri State victory earlier in the season, a multi-team tournament in Florida. And then those ACC wins, Virginia Tech, Clemson, at Georgia Tech as well. And you wonder if it's going to be enough. That Georgia Tech win was 61-52 on the road. And will it be enough to provide them a spot in the postseason tournament, the NCAA tournament, after winning 2 games at the ACC tournament a year ago in Greensboro?
Yeah, and Jen Hoover told us, too, another reason that she would give the committee as to why her team should be there. She has 2 elite players who play at a high level in high-pressure situations, as we've seen all season long, and they are absolutely, in my opinion, an NCAA tournament team.
Trying to take out the number 4 team in the nation. Wide open. Brown Turner sprung loose and has an easy layup. And she's got 7 points in this first quarter as Canane found her.
So Wake comes out in a different defense out of the timeout, and NC State just picks it apart immediately.
Ratza backing in. Had to go over the shoulder. And there was contact. Kayla Jones, 25 in pink, committing the foul.
You look at Ratza's frame, and you don't necessarily think inside post player, leading rebounder. But she uses her body so well. She's got a great arsenal of post moves, and you saw a couple fakes in on that baseline to get Jones off balance and took advantage.
Scruggs just came out of the lineup for Wake Forest. As Kayla Jones has 7 points, she's leading the way right now, but has those 2 personal fouls. And Ratza at the free throw line for Wake Forest cuts the lead to 1. 4 points for Ratza in this first quarter. Brown Turner tried to get it to Canane. Saves it off of Mora and out of bounds. It will stay with NC State.
Yeah, that pass was just a second late. Canane was open immediately on that roll. And unfortunately, the defense got their hand on it.
Brown Turner on the drive.
And that's what Elisa Canane will do. She attracts the defense on the inside, so it left an opening for Brown Turner to take the run.
That's 5 points in the first quarter for Jakia Brown Turner, the sophomore from Oxon Hill, Maryland. Batted around. Wake Forest able to maintain possession. Harrison is in the lineup as well for Wake now, wearing number 2 in white. Shot clock to 5 for Conti. And Canaan had the position for the rebound to Perez. Perez, basically a double-digit scorer, just under 10 points per game for number 2 in pink. This is Crutchfield. They work it inside and get an easy 2. Jada Boyd able to find some daylight, her first basket.
And they've continued to do that. Put Elisa Canaan up at the free throw line, which draws the bigger defender in Mora. They think they have the advantage against Ratza inside, and they've been able to definitely capitalize.
NC State has made its last 4 field goal attempts, and that's another miss for Wake Forest. Trailing by 5, 1:40 to go in the first quarter. Driving all the way and laying it in, Zakiya Brown-Turner, and a timeout, Wake Forest. NC State now 5 for its last 5 after the driving layup by Brown-Turner with her teammate Jones on the bench.
We talked to you about Elisa Canaan and her effectiveness inside, going up against Mora early, and then how about the rejection on the block? Nothing for Christina Mora. And then look at the pass down low to Kayla Jones. She is so incredibly unselfish, and that's what makes her a great post player. But it's also something Wes Moore told us he wishes she wouldn't be so unselfish, because oftentimes when she draws a double team, it's a point guard on her, and she will turn and kick it out instead of turn and try to score.
Canaan, the junior from Summerfield, North Carolina. All-American a season ago. First team All-ACC. Led the conference in rebounding. Ratza drops it off, and an easy basket for Wake. Perez rifles inside to Canaan. Tried the shot as she was falling down and missed.
And that's one of my favorite passes against the zone, is that diagonal look. Good try on the runner there by Kaya Harrison.
Here's Perez. Waits for reinforcements. Stolen by Ratza, quick hands. And that one will drop in for Scruggs. So Suliel had the basket on the previous possession, and now Scruggs has 4 points in the game, and the lead is 3 late in this first quarter.
So great to see Wake Forest pushing the tempo. NC State is a team that we see on the run often. They get a lot of points in transition, but Wake Forest really beating them in their own game right now.
Final seconds of this first quarter for Crutchfield. Stepping back for a 3, missing the target. It hits the end line out of bounds with 2 seconds to go in the quarter on the miss by Crutchfield, who shoots 39% from beyond the arc, but that one well off the intended target. Three-quarter chance. Wake will not take the shot. And so after that timeout called by Coach Hoover, Demon Deeks respond and close the gap. We played 10 minutes. NC State, number 4 in the nation, with an 18-15 lead in the second meeting this season against the Wake Forest Demon Deacons.
One, just one. Every minute, one woman in the United States is diagnosed with cancer. One mother, one daughter, one wife. Kay Yao saw the power of one.
The biggest obstacles also provide the biggest opportunities.
One adds up. One multiplies. Countless lives have been changed. One can change everything. You are the one. The Kay Yao Cancer Fund. The power of one.
ACC Hoops is brought to you by CPI Security. The Fresh Market. Discover the best today. And Coyote Tractor. We dig dirt.
And Wes Moore You see him on the left in that team picture, former assistant for NC State under the legendary coach for NC State, Kay Yao, 34 years. Whenever you see those pink uniforms, you know exactly what that's all about in February. And it was really just a chance meeting between Westmore and Kay Yao that led to his coaching career taking off under the guidance of Coach Yao.
Yeah, he said he was a head coach at Maryville College and went to an AAU Nationals that happened to be in Chattanooga. So there was a team from Tennessee and a team from North Carolina, and decided he'd go see the team from North Carolina because he was up for the Catawba College coaching job. So he thought, why not? Sits down at a gym to watch this team, and sure enough, Kay Yao sits next to him. They have a long conversation through the entire game, and at the end of that game, she said, hey, I've got 200 applications on my desk for an assistant coach, but I want you to fill out an application and apply for that position. And the rest is history, and Westmore says he would not be where he is today if it weren't for that chance meeting, and obviously just an incredible story and a great legacy that she has left.
As these teams trade three-pointers, Coach Moore, 8th year as the head coach at NC State after 15 successful years as the head coach at Chattanooga. Brown Turner's now made a 3 in 10 consecutive games. She has a couple in this one. Over 11 in pink, and it's a 21-18 lead. The largest lead of that first quarter for NC State was 7 when it was 18-11, but Wake came back in the latter stages of that first quarter. And here we play early in the second. So glad that you're with us as Boyd jumps up to try to steal it. And it will be NC State basketball. So Ratza lost possession. May have stepped on the sideline there. Karen Prado, Brian Brunette, and Billy Smith are officials for our game tonight. And Brown Turner has gotten into double digits 15 times this season. She's got 10 points here in our first half of play.
She's been a mainstay for this NC State team, and she provides another option offensively, because you know what you're going to get with Kanane, and you know what you're going to get with Boyd and other players like this. She has been a terrific outside threat.
NC State has not played since last Thursday. A win at home against Clemson. They were supposed to play Monday against Notre Dame. That game postponed because of COVID protocols, and they're knocking down threes. That's Boyd. She's got 5 points now. The win for NC State last Thursday at home was 86-65 against the Clemson Tigers, and they shot 51% of that winning effort.
Yeah, they just shut down Clemson defensively early in that first quarter.
Ratza got fouled, Kelly. So Hobby picks up the foul, her first. You know, the interesting thing about not having any fans in the building, sometimes you can hear exactly what the coaches are trying to impart upon their players in the most inspirational and constructive way, Kelly Dale.
Clearly, Westmore does not want them to try to block shots, and it was like we were in on the huddle there, and yeah, he's frustrated. And if I'm Wake Forest, that's exactly what I'm going to continue to do. Try to get NC State into foul trouble. We saw Lisa Kanane with a big block, but you continue to be active in the paint, and you will draw fouls.
The lead is 4 for the Pack here in the second quarter. Perez around the edge. Had to send it back out. That's a 3 and a miss for Boyd. Had made a 3 a moment ago. Harrison will run it up. Scruggs. Lefty launch, no good. Mora over the top. Correction, Sumiel came over the top to get it, so she's got 4 now.
Jen Hoover mentioned Sumiel off the bench at one time was the second leading rebounder for this team, and that's exactly what she's in there to do, is be active on the offensive glass.
She's seen action in every game this season. Sumiel, the sophomore from Connecticut. Ratza to Conti. Harrison tracks it down in the corner. A chance to tie or take the lead for Wake Forest on this possession.
I'd go back inside. You've had success getting in the paint.
Shot clock is down to 10. 44% shooting in the game so far for Wake. Entry to Ratza, 5 on the shot clock, up and in. Ivana Ratza for Wake Forest, and we're tied at 24, and she's into double digits.
And she wanted the foul, but Boyd gave her that left side, and she has been great, turning over her right shoulder and finishing with the left.
So Ratza with 11 points. Perez, too strong to Scruggs.
Great opportunity right now for Wake Forest.
Conti loops it into Ratza. The double team knocked away by Brown-Turner, and Wake keeps it.
And Jen Hoover has emphasized rebounding in practice the last 3 weeks in particular. Offensive rebounding has been huge. Sumielg there, and then the following play, great entry pass into Ratza. Look at that, right off the left side of the hoop with her left hand, backboard in.
Ratza, the senior, had 20 points in the win at Clemson in the most recent game for Wake. That last play, the ball went off of the Demon Deacs. So it is Wake basketball. They've got the pink on tonight as we play for Kay. So glad that you're with us. Tom Wormy along with Kelly Deo and our outstanding ACC Women's College Hoops production crew here in Winston-Salem, North Carolina.
It's been good defense for Wake Forest. They're forcing NC State to take contested jumpers.
How about Conti using the rim to shield off the defender out of bounds after the miss, and it stays with Wake Forest. Inside Joel Coliseum, 32nd season for this building as the home of Wake Forest women's basketball. These two programs first met back in 1975, before Kelly Dale was born. You had to wait till 79 for that, right, Kelly?
That's exactly
we won't do the math. We won't do the math.
Thank you.
Okay. Approaching the 5-minute threshold of our second quarter. Tied at 24. State's led by as many as 7 back in the first quarter.
You got to get Elisa Kinane the ball. You've had a couple bad possessions on offense. There you go.
Against the double team, and it does not stop. Number 33 in pink.
And that's the mentality she's got to have. Always her face and her head toward the basket. Don't always be looking for the pass out of the double team.
4 points for Kinane. She averages over 15.5 per game, 6th best in the ACC. Scruggs is open. Angular board Perez. Perez, the transfer from Cal State Fullerton, with the entry to Kinane around the edge and off the side of the rim, and Mora clears it.
And in that 4-out-1-in situation, Wake Forest is not doubling Kinane. You've got to continue to try to go at Kinane, see what she can do one-on-one.
Mora trying to get around Kinane with a step-around move. Can't finish it off. Kayla Jones coming right down Broadway with the left hand.
She's so good. Had 21 points in that win against Clemson. And it's stuff like that. She'll create her own shot. You know, I talked about the development of Mora in the offseason. Kayla Jones is someone for me that just keeps on getting better.
Wide open 3. Miss from Spear. Jewel Spear, 24 in white, in that Wake Forest lineup.
She's been a great freshman for them and was actually a recruit of Wes Moore's.
The basket and the foul. And the move from Kayla Jones, who had 21 points in the win against Clemson a week ago. And she'll have a chance at a 3-point play when we come back. Alyssa Kinane establishing herself inside. And Kayla Jones, individual effort. Fancy dribble, basket and foul. And she'll be at the line when we come back. The Greensboro Coliseum is the home of the ACC Women's Tournament, and that venue's witnessed so many great moments as of late, including last year's championship win by NC State, their first ACC tournament title since 1991. The Regional Sports Network will have all the early round action beginning on March 3rd. Stay up to date. For more information on the tournament, visit theacc.com, who will hoist the trophy as Greensboro hosts the tournament. And if it were to start like right now, like this second, Kelly Dale. First of all, you and I would be in Greensboro, number one. A lot of folks on our production crew. But here's how it would look. Because we only have one game on that first day because Virginia and Duke will not be participating.
And you look at those top 4 seeds as well. What a job Georgia Tech has done. Nell Fortner, we knew it wouldn't take long for her to turn that program around, and now they're looking at a top 4 seed. Don't have to play until Friday, but as you said, I know that will look very different come tournament time in terms of seeding, and still quite a few games left to play.
Georgia Tech is closing in on a win tonight, and that's at Florida State. They would improve to 11-4 in conference play. They're leading 55-38, and that's late in the fourth at Florida State.
Okay, here we go, 1.
So Kayla Jones is at the free throw line, trying to finish off that three-point play. The last 3 buckets from the floor have come in the paint for NC State. They do a lot of damage there against their opposition.
In the first quarter alone, 7 of the 8 field goals were inside the paint. They went away from that to start the second quarter, but that is where they have made their living since then.
It's a 7-0 run for the Pack, interrupted by that driving 2 from Jewel Spear.
And another layup made in the paint. Both teams have benefited from getting the ball inside, guards and posts alike.
Jewel Spear was the leading scorer in that game at NC State in mid-December for this Wake team. She had 12 points and made 4 3-point baskets. Shot clock is at 8 for the Pack. Canane, traveling violation. It was Brown Turner on the dribble, and that'll be just the second turnover in the game for NC State.
Here's where Wake Forest has to capitalize. Any unforced turnovers by Wake Forest, or excuse me, by NC State, is an opportunity for Wake to cut into this deficit.
Ratza lines up the three-pointer. It's Brown Turner on the rebound and run. Jones. Kind of an awkward looking release there, almost like a double clutch three-point release, but Canane was in there to clean up the mess, and a whistle goes against Wake Forest.
I've seen that hitch on her shot from the free throw line where she is very successful, but I don't often see it from outside. So it was interesting, as you mentioned, to see her take that kind of extra motion before the shot.
Mora picked up the foul. Jones was driving baseline and found Perez ripping the ropes out of the corner for 3 for NC State.
She's one of the best point guards in this conference, and I don't think she gets a ton of attention because she has so many players around her that can score. She's the only one in the starting 5 that doesn't quite average double figures. She's just tenths of a point away from that, but she is such a great distributor.
Ratza had it knocked out of bounds as the Pack enjoys its largest lead of the game with inside of 2 minutes to go in our second quarter. Sarcastic smile from Ratza, looking for some contact and a whistle. They do maintain possession with Conti to trigger the inbounds as Crutchfield is the replacement player for Jones going to the bench. And Jones has 12 points, playing with those 2 personal fouls. Ratza is the lone Wake Forest player in double digits as that rattles out for Spear. Whistle against the Deeks. That was on Hines. It's her first personal. So Mora comes back into the game for Wake. NC State basketball. Perez just hit that three-pointer. She shoots 34% from beyond the arc. 17 made threes. Last year, the Big West Player of the Year for Cal State Fullerton. Quite an addition to the lineup for Coach Moore.
Yeah, you knew when Ace Koenig graduated that point guard position was going to be one that they needed to fill desperately. And Reina Perez didn't even know about NC State. Played at Cal State Fullerton, as you said. Her brother was the one that knew that when Westmore called, you know, he said, Reina, this is the team that just won the ACC tournament. And the rest is history. And she has been, I mean, more than a great addition. I think She's one of, as I said, one of the best point guards in this league, but could absolutely help this team in postseason.
How about Kanane? Kind of a no-look over the head shot. She's got 6 points, and the pass came from Perez.
She's putting on a post clinic inside. She has literally done everything that you can hope for from a post player, from defend to hitting tough shots.
She's got 6 points. Kanane in the first half. Conti nowhere to go. Entry Mora does not get the bounce.
And that's good defense from Kanane. Put her hands up straight, didn't go for the block, as we heard Wes Moore was trying to discourage, and she listened.
Too strong on the layup attempt there from Brown Turner coming around the edge. Ratza catches up with it. Sends it out for a 3 to Spear. Another chance. This is Ratza from way outside. And now we've got 25 seconds to go in the quarter. This game is moving along. Late in the second quarter now. NC State's been strong with that halftime lead. They're 12-1 this season. Been leading after 20 minutes. And 13-2 overall. Trying to sweep the season series from the Demon Deacons. And Kanane hits a 3 right before the horn. And the largest lead of the game after the 3 from Elisa Kanane. So Kanane with that 3 to finish things off, up to 9 points. And she and her teammates go to the locker room with the halftime lead against Wake Forest here in Winston-Salem. A 15-2 run to finish off the half for NC State after we were tied 24 all with about 7 minutes to go in that second quarter. 39-26. Largest lead of the game for NC State at halftime. Elisa Kanane, 9 points and 6 boards in the first half.
Also 3 assists. Look at that. We just saw 2 of them. You want a clinic as to how it would be a great post player? Watch number 33 in pink. Gets the ball, goes up against the double team. She just is unbelievably athletic and strong inside that post. Also, by the way, can knock down the 3.
Extending the range, Elisa Kanane making her 9th 3 of the season. Shoots about 50% from three-point range, and she and her teammates shot about 50% in that first half. 49% from the floor for the Pack, Kelly Dale.
Yeah, that's consistent with what we've seen from the Wolfpack this season. They shoot a very high percentage, but even better for them is that they've held Wake Forest, and they have struggled. They got some shots early on, but they have struggled to score since then. NC State also owning the advantage in the paint.
Yeah, Pack for the season, 48% from the floor. That's best of the ACC. When we come back, we'll talk a little NCAA tournament. We know the Pack's going to be there. How about Wake? We'll delve into that in just a moment. Sunday, ACC women's basketball takes center stage. Here on your regional sports network, a doubleheader at noon. Syracuse takes on Virginia Tech. And then at 2 p.m. Eastern, it's Georgia Tech and Boston College. So we've got 2 games for you. You want to check your local listings for the broadcast time in your region. Where will the teams fit as far as bracketology is concerned and those projected seeds coming out this week, Kelly Deo? No surprise for Louisville and NC State, but Notre Dame, they've had quite a string of postseason NCAA tournaments. Will it continue this year?
That's a great question. Virginia Tech, though, another team in that one of those top spots, and they are thrilled to hear that. They lost out on that opportunity last season, but they have returned some excellent players. Kitley and Asia Shepard, 2 of the best scorers in the ACC.
And Virginia Tech has a win against this NC State program this season as well. North Carolina also with an upset win against NC State. The Tar Heels and Coach Banghart trying to get to the NCAA tournament this year.
Yeah, UNC, one of those teams that has kind of flown under the radar. You know, they have not necessarily had consistency beating some top teams, but everybody took notice when they knocked off NC State with Elisa Kanane. Have a great shooter in Holashinska that they added, And then Notre Dame. This is the big story. That is a freshman, a high school player just a few weeks ago, Olivia Miles, in now playing the point at Notre Dame, just a 17-year-old. She, along with Maddie Westfeld inside, who is an excellent freshman for Niele Ivey in that squad. They would love to have the conversation be that they are a team to watch coming into the NCAA tournament. And obviously they've got a couple more opportunities to prove to the committee that they are a team that could do it.
Yeah, Coach Ivey in her first year for the Notre Dame program. Tom and Kelly with you from our broadcast position here in Winston-Salem and Joel Coliseum. And in our first half, it was NC State sort of pulling away at the end of that second quarter. And they're showing us why, Kelly, they have gone to the Sweet 16 for the last 2 years. Of course, we didn't have a tournament last year, but Coach Moore's team looks real good, and they've responded here in that second quarter.
Oh, they're an incredibly balanced team. They've got an incredible point guard in Reina Perez, shooters along the perimeter, one of the best post players in the country in Elisa Cunane, and they play both sides of the ball. They can score, obviously, but they are such a great defensive team, lead the league in defensive field goal percentage, and they are just a very tough opponent for anybody. Also
lead the league in shooting percentage, and they've shot very well in the first half, close to 50%. When we come back, we'll talk about Charlene Curtis, a true trailblazer in the ACC, and some great impact in history here at Wake Forest as well. We'll talk about that when we come back. This is ACC Women's Basketball.
You know, now that the door is open, there's still opportunities for people to be trailblazers. There's still some doors that we haven't actually cracked open yet. My college coach, Pat Barrett, was the one who gave me some opportunities to work basketball camps. I had never attended a basketball camp. Didn't know they existed. They were just starting to happen for girls at that point in time. And it was at that point that I started to consider coaching as an opportunity. My first coaching job was at a high school in Bedford County. And I was the first African-American female to teach at that high school ever. I knew, and I was challenged, that if I didn't look at being the only one, but I looked at the opportunity to excel and to do my best so that I can open the door for someone to come behind me. I was, other than Jim Caldwell, we the two highest ranking Black, African Americans on the staff at that point in time. But I didn't focus on that, and that was not something that was in the front of my mind every day. My focus was on providing an opportunity for the student athletes in the program and those that we would later recruit to the program to be successful. Again, I was in a unique position. I was the first one that they had hired full-time to do that role. But I was in a unique role to be able to do it, and I really appreciate the opportunity because it was a kind of a cap to the end of my athletic career, working career, and kind of definitely a different chapter. So you just want to make sure whatever you're doing right now in your role, that you make it better, you leave it better for the next person that steps in.
Fantastic advice from Charlene Curtis, retired supervisor of officials in the ACC, but a trailblazer, Kelly, in this league.
Yeah, she absolutely was. And you think about, she was the only African-American in the ACC for many, many years. And now you look, Niele Ivey, Tina Thompson, Kara Lawson, all heading up programs in the ACC, and just the road that she paved. And I coached in the Big South, and her name was well known. She played at Radford, was a coach at Radford, again, the first African-American coach at Radford. And also got into some broadcasting, got her hand into that. And then, as you saw there, was the head of officials for the ACC. So just an incredible, incredible career that she's had.
Pretty much did it all and was honored tonight during our game prior to the start between the Wolfpack and Deacons. And the second half is straight ahead with the Wolfpack out in front by 13. Elisa Cunane and her Wolfpack teammates with a 39-26 lead as we are about to start the third quarter. She is our Hardy's star to watch. 3 double-doubles on the season, 20 for her career, and she's headed in that direction tonight, Kelly.
She's been fantastic. We talked at the Open about how she'd only taken 15 field goal attempts in her last 2 games combined. Tonight, she has 9 attempts already, and you see the numbers there: 6 rebounds, 3 assists, and a block to go with it.
Came into the night shooting 60% from the floor, second in the conference and 9th in the nation, coming off an 11-point, 8-rebound performance in the win last Thursday at home against Clemson in 19 minutes of action. So they made sure she got her touches in the first half. She's got the ball now. Second half, third quarter, 39-26. After NC State won the meeting between the teams in mid-December in Raleigh, and they throw it out of bounds.
And that's the right look. You know that Westmore continued on that same narrative. Get the ball inside to Elisa.
Just the 3rd turnover in the game for NC State. Even 1 turnover is too many as far as Coach Moore is concerned, as you saw his reaction on the sideline. Traveling violation against Rotza. She got tied up defensively by Jones in the 4th turnover of the game for the Deacons. So a relatively well-played game by both teams in that first half.
Right now, Gina Conti needs to step up. She's 1 of 5 in the first half, and she's a player that this team really fuels their emotions off of. She will get, when she gets going, the rest of the team gets going.
Brown Turner driving and scoring, coming out of that corner, and 12 points. Jakia Brown Turner, the sophomore.
It's pick your poison with NC State. You don't stop Elisa Canane, then the guards are going to get going.
So in the first meeting between the teams in mid-December, Conti had just 7 points. Rotza only had 5. Although she did get to double digits in the first half, but the runner is too strong. How about that pass from Perez inside to Jones?
So I was a post player that loved to run the floor, and Niele Ivey had that kind of vision. And you love that from a point guard. Reina finding Jones inside.
14 points for Jones. Perez now with 4 assists. The basket will not count.
And how about this play by Turner? She knows she's got the mismatch. She's got a quicker first step than Scruggs, takes it in, and then Reina Perez with the vision delivers the pass. Jones finishes.
So Brown Turner picked up that previous foul for NC State, and now Scruggs. Rotza trying to back her way in. Perez flicks it away and then got fouled. And good sportsmanship exhibited by Jules Spear.
And that's the difference probably between Elisa Canane and Ivana Rotza inside. Rotza puts the ball on the floor, and she's not used to a double team coming, but Perez gets her hands on it, able to flick it away.
How about NC State in the midst of a 19-2 run? Back into the second quarter and now into the third, although that shot from Canane with a miss, and the ball ends up right back with her. Jones baseline. Able to squeeze that one up somehow and gets a very soft bounce on the rim, and now 16 points for Kayla Jones.
And Canane wisely backs out of that position so as to not bring her player into double, and gave Jones a one-on-one look.
Jones went 8 of 10 last Thursday against Clemson and scoring 21 points. That's Conti, who recovered and got fouled by Crutchfield.
And you can see the frustration on Gina Conti's face. Even that shot not going. You don't normally see that. Those are shots she hits with consistency, even with pressure and a foul.
So Conti's at the free throw line. 1 of 5 from the floor, but now has 4 points after that free throw. 1 of 2 at the stripe for Gina Conti, the senior from Grove City, Ohio, playing her 113th game in a Wake Forest uniform. You can say the same about Rotza as well.
And they've had quite a career. They were roommates for the first 3 years in college, and now they live on their own. But Coach said they hold each other accountable and are great friends. And Elisa Canane with the bucket inside. Great effort on the second chance.
So Wake Forest has missed its last 6 shots. Their last made field goal was at the 3:13 mark of the second quarter. Hard to beat number 4 in the country. When you go on a scoring drought like that, can Spear give it off to Mora? Back to Conti for three. Crutchfield the entry. Jones, little scoop shot, came up short. So Kanane now has 9 rebounds. She's just a rebound away from a double-double, be her 4th of the season if she can get that board, and you would think in all likelihood that's going to happen. Wake possession, closing in on 6 minutes to go in our third quarter. Spears stepping back.
I think we're seeing too much one-on-one right now from Wake Forest. They're just trying to get a bucket.
In the meantime, Brown Turner beats everybody to the rim, and it's a timeout, Wake Forest. NC State with just under 6 minutes to go in our third, up 49-27 on the road against the Deacons. Saturday, ACC men's basketball takes center stage on your regional sports network with a triple header. At noon, it's Miami and Georgia Tech to get the day started. Then at 2, NC State and Wake, followed at 4 by number 16, Florida State at Pitt. A triple header. You want to check your local listings for the game and times in your area. I'm on my way to Coral Gables, Florida. It's a little warmer there than it is here. And
wow,
we're certainly happy that everybody's safe with the ice storms in the area and everything, and the roads were okay to travel. I came up from Fort Mill, South Carolina for the game today without issue. And we're very pleased to be in the building and watching ACC women's basketball. Sumiel with the basket, and she's got 6. So don't forget that triple header of men's basketball coming up on Saturday.
I like how you just dropped that you are about to be in Miami, where it's actually warm, Tom.
Coach Jim Larinaga told us it's about 80 degrees there.
Gosh,
so
what I wouldn't give.
Almost as hot as the shooting for NC State. 52% in the game for the Wolfpack.
Well, they take good shots. They give up a poor shot for a better shot, and then when you got players that can shoot with that consistency that they can, that's going to be what you're going to get all game long, and that's a good drive there by Wake Forest. They needed it.
So the first 2 for Harrison. You remember when they met in December, NC State set the tone. They hit their first 10 shots of that game, and they had a first quarter lead of 33-17 and went on to win that game 79-65 on December 17th at Reynolds Coliseum.
I think they needed to get the ball into Sumiel right there. She's the only player off the bench that has scored for Wake Forest. Just had a bucket earlier in this quarter.
Ratza. Shot came up short. Bounces around and taken by Brown Turner. 3-on-3 situation, and Perez pumping up a 3-ball. Rotz is the only player in double digits, and she'll add to that total. She now has 13. That was a 2-point basket for Rotza.
Wake Forest has continued to change up defenses. Great high hedge there by Ratza.
Boyd encouraged to take the shot by her teammates. Long rebound. Kanane to the court to save it. Crutchfield, Kanane, basket.
Now, Lisa Kanane was communicating with her point guard as to where she wanted the ball. She asked for it from the girl in the corner. So she gives the pass and then extends her hand to give her a target.
Over 20 minutes of action for Kanane, and she's got a double-double in this game.
I like Sumiel's game. She can hit inside, step outside, knock down the 3. She plays with energy and intensity. That's all you can ask for.
Deflected to Crutchfield. Sumiel had only made 3 threes in her entire career before tonight. She came in averaging less than 3 points per game. She's got 9 tonight.
What a great time of the year to be playing at your best.
It bounces off. Brown Turner was fouled. She'll go to the line for the chance at the three-point play and to get to 19 points on the night with the free throw for Brown Turner.
Second chance points. Huge opportunities for NC State. This is where they've been able to get points in the paint. NC State rolling.
ACC Hoops is brought to you by the Works Landroid Robotic Lawnmower. Step into the future of lawn care and check mowing off your to-do list for good. Available at mylandroid.com. Toyota. Visit your local Toyota dealers today. And Continental Tire, for what you do.
About 100 miles to the east in Raleigh, North Carolina, and Reynolds Coliseum, and the statue of Coach Yao outside of the Coliseum as we play for K. And the K Yao Cancer Fund and the initiatives against women's cancers. Those pink uniforms come out in February. And we honor Coach Yao, who won the ACC tournament championship 4 times. Her NC State program, the defending champs, when we go back to Greensboro for the first week in March for the ACC tournament. We hope you'll join us on your regional sports networks for the 44th ACC women's tournament in Greensboro for the 21st time. And we'll start on March 3rd with 1 game on that first day because Virginia and Duke opted out of this season. So we'll go to the tournament with 13 teams. NC State, the defending champ, and they lost to Florida State, or they beat Florida State, rather, in that title game, 71-66.
It'll be a different year for sure when you think about postseason. We're just thankful that the ACC is having their tournament, and then you think ahead to March, and all games will be played in San Antonio. And that will be an interesting thing. No home court advantage, which I think is great for a lot of teams, especially you think of Wake Forest getting into the tournament, Virginia Tech, you know, some of those teams who will not benefit from playing on somebody else's home court. What a great opportunity for other teams to get some wins.
2019, the last time the NCAA tournament was contested, 8 ACC teams participated in the tournament. And that includes Notre Dame going all the way to the finals before losing to Baylor in that championship.
Excuse me, in Charlie Cream's most recent bracket, he has 8 teams going from the ACC. Notre Dame being one of the last 4 out of that top 64. Wake Forest was in.
Sumiel picked up the foul to send Canane to the free throw line. First free throws of the evening for Elisa Canane. Big smile as our colleague Debbie Antonelli assigned that nickname to number 33 in pink. 84%, 5th in the conference from the stripe, and as you might imagine, a couple of free throws for Canane. 6th in scoring in the league, 9th in rebounding. Hobby's going to come in. Canane will get a breather.
Yeah, she plays with so much joy and purpose, and she continues to get better. Was the ACC Freshman of the Year when she came in a few years ago, and has only continued to improve under Wes Moore, and Aaron Bath, her post coach, has done a tremendous job with her as well.
Over 1,000 career points, over 500 career rebounds for Canane on the bench right now. Sumiel had to send it back out. She hasn't missed a shot yet. She's 4 for 4. She's 4 for 5. Late in the shot clock. Hobby with the tie-up on the drive there by Harrison, and the arrow favors Wake Forest. With 1:34 to go in our 3rd quarter, cruising right along here in Winston-Salem. There was potential for history to be made tonight. Jen Hoover was trying to become the winningest coach in the history of the Wake Forest program, although it will be a steep uphill climb in the second half if she's to achieve that milestone. Conti, difficult shot. Sumiel with the save. And the shot clock will run out on Wake Forest as Roxa couldn't get to it.
It would also have been Wake Forest's first victory over a top 5 team ever.
That's It's a big number there.
They almost did it against Louisville, as we mentioned earlier.
Yeah, the 2-point loss, yeah.
If not for Dana Evans. A lot of teams are saying that, right? If
The
not
reigning
for Dana
player
Evans.
of the year in the ACC.
She wins a lot of games for that team.
Somebody asked me about ACC women's basketball recently, and they asked me who's the best player in the league, and obviously Dana Evans, her name comes to mind almost immediately. And this person thought, oh, big power forward, over 6 feet tall, strong, interior scorer. I said, no, about 5'4.5". And she will get it done.
Good dribbling.
Yeah, she will get it done and involve her teammates as well. Perez on the break. NC State unable to save it.
Look at the ball movement here by NC State. 2 people have touched the ball. Now 3, 4, inside to Hobby. It's a complete 5 players on the floor, and Elisa Canane with the cheer on the sideline.
Hobby's first basket of the night, to the delight of Elisa Canane in the final seconds here. About 30 seconds to go now in our 3rd quarter. Again, it was a 13-point halftime lead, and the largest lead tonight, 24 points, where it is right now. With 20 seconds to go, about a 3-second differential, game to shot. Ratza puts on the break, skillful move, couldn't complete it. Boyd. Final 10 seconds. Last shot of the quarter, belonging to the Wolfpack. Maybe not. Traveling violation, a turnover from Boyd. And now 3.2 seconds with which to work for Wake Forest, and the 5th turnover of the game for NC State. Conti heaves it. That'll do it for the 3rd. 60-36. So NC State improving on its halftime lead of 13. And the Wolfpack shooting an even 50% in this game. Easy to do when you've got layups and moves like Jakia Brown-Turner working hard on the offensive glass for the Pack. The numbers support the fact that the last 2 quarters have belonged to NC State, most recently outscoring the Demon Deacs 21-10 in the 3rd quarter. They had an 8-0 run to end the 2nd quarter, and that is our Coyote Tractor turning point. And since we were tied at 24 all, Kelly, in the 2nd quarter, how about a 36-12 run by NC State?
And they've done it everywhere on the floor. You see Lisa Canane stepping back for another 3, but the majority of their points in the paint, over 60% of their points in this game have come from inside. And that's not just that lady right there. It's also guards getting in and making easy buckets.
That is what they do. They've outscored their opposition by an average of 14 points per game in the paint. It's making a difference tonight as well. As we go around the league, and that very first score, it's a win on the road for Georgia Tech, 62-48.
You see Clemson trailing North Carolina. Pittsburgh coming off their 3rd win of conference play, their most in recent history. They just beat Boston College, who is leading Miami at this point.
So North Carolina trying to hunt that road win and get to the NCAA tournament. NC State in the pink. North Carolina defeated NC State this season. And Tar Heels are 5-8 on the year in conference play.
Jada Boyd has been a lot more confident with that outside shot. We saw her hit a 3. That's not a normal part of her game. She's had very few this season, but she's become more and more confident with her outside shooting as the season has progressed.
7 points for Boyd now in the game for the sophomore from Petersburg, Virginia. And that's Mora going to her left, and 4 points.
Well, she needed that. Before that bucket right there, Mora, Spear, and Conti, all starters, were 3 of 20 from the field in this game. You can't have that when you're trying to knock off the second seeded team in your conference.
And the number 4 team in the nation pass in tight quarters, and Perez takes it back. 19 points for Brown-Turner, 16 for Jones, 15 for Canane. Brown-Turner set her career high with 23 points in the first meeting between the teams. And now she adds to the total. Let's go to 21 now after that jumper.
Yeah, it's just too easy right there. The Wake Forest defense has not been playing tough defense the way that we saw in that first quarter.
Brown Turner has a couple of made threes in this game on 3 chances. She went 4 for 5 from beyond the arc and scoring 23 points in mid-December against Wake at Reynolds Coliseum. That set her career high. She subsequently tied it. Hobby with a turnaround. Ratza with the rebound. Just 33% shooting as a team in the game for Wake Forest, and that's below their season average of 42%, but that will help the averages. Ratza on the drive, and she was fouled.
I'm so glad that Mora did not take that shot. She was so well contested inside. Instead, they go inside out, kick it to Ratza, who's got a lane to the basket, gets an and one opportunity.
15 points for Ratza. 5 rebounds as well. 75% from the line on the season.
We'd love to see more of that as Wake Forest continues in this quarter. I think the offense has been completely disjointed. People trying to go one-on-one, 1 or 2 passes and then a shot going up. And look at that, getting a turnover out of your defense. That's what you want.
7 turnovers in the game for NC State. Had a 13-point halftime lead. Led by 26 just a moment ago. Largest of the night. Now Conti angling to the basket.
Great hustle by Mora. And again, Conti just missing shots that you'd normally see her finishing. Remember, she hit the 3 to send Wake Forest into overtime against Pittsburgh, and of course they came up with that win. But that's the kind of play that we expect from Gina Conti.
So the Wolfpack to start the night were 2-2 in their last 4 games. On their way to victory here with 7:07 to go in the 4th. Again, we told you they had a scheduled game Monday against Notre Dame. That was postponed. Beat Clemson last Thursday. They've now defeated the Clemson Tigers 12 straight times. And they've won 6 in a row in the series against Wake Forest. Free throws upcoming, as that was Boyd against Ratza.
I love it. We're seeing Jada Boyd outside hitting jumpers, and then she's showing us what she can do on the block.
Boyd is 85% from the line, and these are her first free throws of the night. 7 points on the night for Boyd.
We talk about the balance on this NC State team. Jada Boyd comes off the bench and still can put up numbers like she does.
Don't forget the doubleheader we've coming up on Sunday. Syracuse and Virginia Tech. That's at noon, and then at 2 Eastern, Georgia Tech and Boston College. Georgia Tech's already posted a win tonight on the road at Florida State. Check your local listings for the game and time in your area. ACC women's basketball on a Sunday afternoon. We're getting towards the end of the regular season here as well, Kelly, as we angle towards Greensboro, North Carolina, and our ACC women's tournament. I expect to see you there, by the way. Okay?
I do too. I hope. Man.
Along with the rest of our talented crew.
Right.
Announcers and production staff. Ratza catch and release.
Great out of bounds play. Good finish.
18 points now, Kelly, for Ratza.
And she needed help. They have not found another player for this Wake Forest team that has been able to do much of anything. The only player I can think of is Sumiel, who I believe had a career high tonight with 9 points.
She did. Her previous career high was 8 points. Deep into the shot clock, NC State and Perez.
And this is what we didn't see after the first quarter either. Oh, it cannot finish, but great follow there by Mora. We saw Wake Forest running the floor in transition, getting quick rebounds and getting it out to their point guard.
Little 7-0 run by Wake Forest.
I think a part of that was the fact that NC State just kept making shots.
NC State shooting 49%. They're 5 of 15 from three-point distance. Built that first quarter lead, and they have not looked back. Led by 13 points at halftime, 39-26. Mora trying to back it in against Hobby.
When I see Camille Hobby, I cannot forget what she did in that Virginia Tech game. It was an unfortunate one for Wake Forest, but without Elisa Canane, Camille Hobby was outstanding. Hit the three to put them into overtime. Had an incredible game, career high, I believe, and they came up short against Virginia Tech, but still, she came into her own in that game.
She had 19 points, a career high on the road at Virginia Tech, after scoring 12 against Clemson a week ago. And now 4:20 to go in regulation, 64-45. The series over the years has been dominated by NC State with a 74-15 lead, and they're 32-9 here in Winston-Salem against Wake. Won 3 in a row on the road. It's probably going to be 4 in a row as Boyd makes the drive.
It's been the Jada Boyd show. Goodness. Showing us what she does off the dribble now.
9 points for Boyd and 4 of 7 shooting. Foul on Crutchfield with the Wolfpack out in front of the Demon Deeks here in Winston-Salem. (66-45). Lisa Canane and the Wolfpack out in front here in the fourth. Takes us right to our CPI security protecting the paint. Canane, couple of blocks tonight, Kelly Dale.
Well, she'll do that. She's one of the best defenders in this league. That time, maybe got away with a little bit of a swing on the arm. You don't like to see that if you're an official, but just doing her job and protecting the paint for the Wolfpack.
I think she was just about to come back into the ball game, but we'll see if she actually enters the lineup. But that's a double-double, 4th of the season.
Played 24 minutes in this game against Clemson. Just played 19 minutes. Again, they were trying to rest her and let some other players have an opportunity, which I actually really appreciate, especially coming in to the latter part of the season. Not only do you want to rest your starters, but you also want to give other players opportunities. You look at what's happening right now with Sumiel, right? Coming into this game, she is putting on a show, gets a career high in February. That's exactly when you want your players to be playing at their best moving into March.
So number 20 for NC State, Ellie Sutphin, comes into the game. Sumiel wears 20 in white for Wake Forest. So Sutphin, the redshirt freshman, is in there, seeing action in her 12th game this season. Averages about 2.5 points per game. Wake trying to save it. Crutchfield ended up with it. Three and a half minutes to go in our 4th quarter. 13-point halftime lead, NC State. Told you how good they are with the halftime lead, 12-1. That's going to be 13-1 after tonight, going on the road with a 4-2 record away from Raleigh and 3-2 in conference play. And those numbers will also improve as Ratza runs to the bench. She's got 18 points. 17 times this season she's gotten to double digits.
Yeah, it was a great game for Ratza. She was 6 of 13 from the field, perfect from the free throw line. She just didn't have help around her.
Certainly a better performance than in December for Ratza, where she was 2 of 11 from the floor against NC State and just 5 points. Shot clock's at 2. Sutphin.
And that's what NC State will do to teams defensively. I think everybody talks about what they have on the offensive end. But as I said earlier, they're the best in the conference in defensive field goal percentage. They rebound better than anyone in the conference. They make you take tough shots. And you've got to be locked in offensively and really executing your offense in order to score against them.
Wolfpack about to improve to 14-2 on the season after going 28-4 last year. 14 wins in the ACC a season ago. They've got 8 this year. That was the most in school history a season ago in winning an ACC championship for the first time since 1991. You may hear that a few times when we get to Greensboro. See if they can back it up. Perez picks up the foul for NC State. Nice night for Perez as well. 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 points on a made three-pointer for Perez.
And I like that they still have her out there leading the point, even when they have players in the game that don't see a lot of minutes. That tells you the importance of a good point guard.
Neve Brown is at the free throw line, Kelly, the freshman from Charlotte, North Carolina, and Mallard Creek High School. 59% from the free throw line. Gets that second one to go. Boyd re-enters. 9 points for Boyd on 1 of 3. For Leon, 20 feet 9 inches away. 2:09 on the game clock. And again, if you're just joining us, NC State pulled away after this game was tied at 24 in the second quarter. At one point, the run was 36-12 across the second and third quarters for NC State. So whatever Coach Westmore said in that timeout, tied at 24, once again it worked. That's great coaching from Westmore, using all of the shot clock for Boyd.
What did Jada Boyd eat in the pregame meal? Man, she has been fun to watch. I mean, maybe a little bit of an over dribble, I'd say, on that last one, but still, what we've seen from her has been special.
So Coach Westmore is on the cusp of his 182nd win as the head coach for the Wolfpack, as Hobby misses out of the corner. He's got the most career wins among active ACC coaches. Tonight will be win number 740 for Westmore in 32 years of coaching.
When you think about how the landscape has changed in the ACC, I think it was most notably the place where there were so many coaches with such longevity. You think of Sylvia Hatchell and Muffet McGraw and Kay Yao and, you know, so many great coaches. And now there's a lot of young faces. Tina Thompson, Kara Lawson, Niele Ivey at these programs that, you know, have traditionally been powerhouses and people with some mainstay head coach faces.
Coach Mack at BC, Coach Banghart at North Carolina.
Yeah, the list goes on.
BC was one of the great stories at the tournament last year for Coach Mack. Coach Barnaby McNamee. Final 40 seconds of regulation. 66-47. Sutphin. So the Wolfpack improved to 14-2 with the win. It's also their 7th straight in the series against Wake Forest, which will drop to 11-9 and 8-8 in conference play. Again, they were trying to tie the school record as far as ACC wins were concerned. If they could somehow get the victory tonight.
They'll do that. You know, a couple games left, and they're winnable games for them. And
they've got the Florida road trip, right?
Yep.
Kelly, coming up. Clock runs out on this one. 66-47, our final count. And you had 3 NC State players into double digits, led by Jakia Brown-Turner with 21 points, a couple of threes, 16 points from Jones, and 15 from Elisa Canane. And 10 rebounds, 4th double-double of the year. Kelly, here's the updated standings.
You see Wake Forest 8-8 now, even in the ACC. And, you know, this, of course, could look very different in a couple weeks with a couple more games under each team's belt. And those matter when you come into tournament time and seedings, and everybody trying to avoid, of course, that first Wednesday.
Once again, our final score, 66-47. NC State has the win. A reminder, Saturday, it's an ACC men's basketball triple header beginning at noon Eastern with Georgia Tech and Miami from Coral Gables. 66-47 is the final. NC State is now 14-2 on the season. We thank you for watching, and good night from Winston-Salem. For Kelly Dale and our outstanding production crew, I'm Tom Wormy. We'll see you next time for more ACC women's basketball.